All right, so look, so you did a lot of work in the church,
Yeah.
and when it comes to building out their tech blueprint, what was that experience like?
Well, I started, it was so crazy. I started at a World Changers Church International. Shouts out to Dr. Dog and Pastor Taffy.
Yeah.
And I literally got the job because I was sitting in a youth conference and Pastor Dollar was talking, and I served in the ministry, and he didn't really know me at the time. And he stopped in the middle of the conference while he was preaching and said, "Rob, you're going to build me an app." And I was like, now mind you, I was in like network engineering, building computers, and I was like, all right.
There's a whole nother one. I was like, hold up, I don't do that.
Yeah. But I was like, all right. But now little did he know though, in my mind, I was thinking about how we could bring more tech folks and how we can engage people in the tech space, because that's what all I knew. And so I ended up doing it, right? And I took it to his son, and I was like, hey, here's the app that your dad was telling me that I could build. He was like, all right, cool. 2 weeks later, they're like, hey, can you come in for an interview? And I was like, yeah, sure. So I came in. They gave me a tech interview, like a code interview. I have no idea how I passed it whatsoever. Like, I have no idea.
What? So, but you knew how to code. Like, you know how to code, right?
I knew. I tinkered around a little bit, but just to make the app. But it was in the Objective-C. This stuff was asking like C++ stuff, and I was just like, I was just answering it, right? Yeah. And they gave me a call back. We're like, okay, when would you like your start date to be? I was like, would I pass? Oh, okay, straight. So this was in 2011, and from then, like, one of the things I tell people, like, don't even be intimidated when you have, when you don't know everything in tech. Learn on the job, because that's literally what I did. I learned on the job, and in 6 months, that app had over 100,000 downloads.
Whoa!
Yeah.
That's insane. Rhoda's hair just leaned over like what?
Yeah, 100,000 downloads. One of the key attributes to it was I saw other ministries like Elevation and other ministries, they just had the streaming part. But a lot of us said, no, Dr. Dollar, no, he's a big teacher. Yeah. So I was like, well, why don't we just take his study notes and make a quiz off of it, and then publish a quiz every week based off his study notes. Wow. And people were doing it, and that's when people were doing a lot of the
that was the idea. That was the idea you came up with?
Yeah.
Man, that's fire.
Yeah. And people were doing the gaming shares with all the different games that they were playing on Facebook. That's when that was popular. And people started sharing the quiz. And so that's how, I mean, all over the world, I was looking at the numbers, and I was just like, whoa. And I was the only one in the department that was looking at this. Was like, I can't even believe it.
That's
like, insane. And I'm showing folks or whatever. They're like, yeah, all right.
Because they don't fully grasp the magnitude of something like that.
Somebody in Zimbabwe, somebody over in Australia, somebody in Nigeria, all these different places. And I'm sitting here like, and these folks are staying on it, because you can see how long people stayed on the app. These people are staying on the app. Like, this is huge. And, it helped catapult in other digital areas, digital giving, text to give. I worked on all of that type stuff.
Was it a free app?
Yeah, free app.
So there weren't like any ads or anything being ran?
Mm-mm.
Man, of course, I'm just thinking like the money that could have been made. I don't want nobody judging me. Don't be judging me with your judging eyes. But I'm just like, man, but that's a huge.
But that's ministry though. You know what I mean?
That's true.
That's ministry. That's ministry, and that's what drove a lot of people to be able to stream and connect and all of that type stuff, man. So
that's beautiful. Wow.
And I was there for 8 years.
So what, I guess when it comes to technology and ministry, were there any any red tape or any things that you wanted to do or that you were trying to present to ministries at all, and that they just weren't seeing the value of it?
Ministries, and it's sad to say, ministries do not embrace technology. I have a lot of pastor friends. I have a lot of friends that are just really high up in ministry, and they think it's all about that inner circle of people coming to church. I even hear people talking about they're going to stop streaming to Facebook and YouTube, and they want people to come back to church.
Because they think that the streaming is keeping people from coming in. So they think if they stop streaming, people are going to come to church if they stop streaming.
Right. And people, they just going to find another ministry. That's all they're going to find. And, you got to understand that if you got to accept eCampus as being a campus, right? Yeah. And talk to them. Say, thank you for joining us wherever you are, blah, blah, blah. Ask them to give. They're going to give if you ask them to give. But if you ignore them, then of course they're not gonna be able to connect with you. But if you treat them as another campus, that's what you need to be able to do.
Yeah, I've seen some pastors treat it almost as if it's just a recording, and it's like I'm not even going to acknowledge you. It's like it's kind of like y'all are there, but I'm just focused on the people that are here.
That's what they initially do.
You know what's crazy? It's kind of akin to the whole remote work thing, where it's like there are companies that, and I understand the argument from both sides. But there are companies that are like, hey, no, we need people in office, and it's like, well, have they been performing? Have your numbers been up? And it's like if your numbers and things are up, even though people are working remote, why are you so adamant about them being in office? And I guess the first time I'm thinking about the same thing when it comes to ministry. Mind you, I'm for people being in the building and all of that stuff. But it's like, well, I mean, do people have to be in the building, especially if have a small group where they're connected and they're giving and they're a part of the ministry? I don't know. That's interesting to think about.
Yeah, and because oftentimes we say, well, forsake not the assembling. Well, I understand the scripture, and I also understand when the scripture was actually written.
Exactly.
And, assembling doesn't necessarily mean a whole bunch of people in the room, because whenever you're streaming and you're on a chat, you're assembling with them same people. You may not see them face to face, but you're assembling with those people. You get connected. How many people have we met on social media that we have never met in person?
Man, I have people that I'm like, yo, they're a friend of mine. I've never met him in person.
Never.
What's interesting? Oh, I guess we're gonna dive into it. Even coming to the notion, we can even take it back. The fact that Jesus, there were times where people asked him to go and pray for people, and he was like, they would be like, oh no, like I trust your word. Yeah, I trust that your word virtually can go and touch them and bless them where they're at. It's like you don't have to be there in person. Right. And I think that's something that some ministers, I'm not gonna tell ministers what they need to do, but I think some ministers maybe can sit on and think about that and be like, yo, like Jesus was able to minister and touch people in that same way, and they weren't even able to see him on a screen. Right. And it's like, so how much can our ministry impact them? And they can see me on the screen. They can engage in the chat room. Exactly. Stuff like that.
Exactly. Totally right. I mean, if you think about it from the standpoint of Jesus, when he met the lady at the well, he actually went out of his way to actually meet her. If you think about Jesus's marketing plan, you would think, oh, he just need to go out to every mountaintop and just reach as many people as possible, right? Yeah. Nah, but he actually went out his way to meet her, which was, we assumed that he was going to meet her at the well, and he influenced her before he went on his way. Yeah. So we have to understand that every individual, no matter where they are, like we have to go to the people to be able to speak to them. Yeah. And whether that's online, on Facebook, on YouTube, on our website, even doing community outreach, is not replacing community outreach, it's adding to. Because now you can touch people all over the world. Think about the people in Iceland who can't go to a church, but they're just like, man, I like watching this dude or this lady on TV. Yes. And now you're gonna cut off my stream? Like this is what was feeding me.